Hello, it's Steve with CarSmart in Niagara Falls. Now, you may notice I'm doing this video in a different location than normal. It's very, very windy here in Niagara Falls today, so I'm sort of in the lee of my building here so that the audio doesn't get all messed up. But anyway, let's proceed. 2013 Honda Ridgeline Touring. Now, the Touring being the very top trim level, all the bells and whistles available at its time. Plus, it's got some extra accessories. One to note is what they call a PPF, or paint protection film, that sort of wraps around the front fenders all the way around the hood and the other side. It has anti-theft wheel lock with removal key. It has inside the WeatherTech deep tray floor mats, and as well as we've got the carpeted mats, and then it's got a roll-up tonneau cover on the back that covers over the bed. So, moving along, color is called polished metal metallic, so a nice sort of charcoal gray over sort of a deep charcoal, almost black leather. Headlights nice and clean. Quartz halogen, both fogs and regular headlights. Excellent tires. The gentleman that traded this in, actually I sold him this truck back in 2022. I've sold he and his wife and family many cars over the years. And he just traded it in for an SUV, getting to that stage in life where a pickup was not really necessary for him, but he certainly looked after it. You'll see all the service records inside. Nice fresh Michelin Defender LTX, all-season steel-belted radials. We've got, of course, splash guards at all four corners. When you flip open the doors, you'll see rust-proofing plugs, so it's certainly been oil sprayed over the past, and I would certainly always recommend continuing to do that. When you got a vehicle like this in such good shape and such well maintained, you just don't want the body to rot out on you. And again, it's got 193,835 kilometers as traded. He bought it from me back in 22 at 122,000. So he's done 60K in the last 4 years, so not high mileage, but it's totally accident free since new. These all come standard with a heavy-duty trailer towing package. You can see the wiring connector there. It's a 7-pin wiring, which gives you a 5,000-pound trailer tow rating on this. So again, that's quite a good-size trailer, for a mid-size truck. And it's a V6 engine, 3.5 V6 with a 5-speed overdrive automatic. But it's all heavy-duty transmission cooler, heavy-duty power steering cooler, heavy-duty radiator with dual fans, all things you want when you're getting into heavy load pulling or heavy, load carrying. Payload, for example, 1,500 pounds in the bed, which is certainly good. You'll see the markings on the back, of course. Touring 4-wheel drive. These use what they call a VTM4. It's a variable torque management system, often called torque vectoring with other manufacturers, where it actually sends the power or the torque to the wheels that really need and have both have the traction and where it's most needed. So again, it all does this in real time. There's no guesswork. Now there is what they call a lock button, which sort of locks it into a 50-50 power split. Now that's only to be used on really slippery surfaces like a stone parking lot like this, or a road, or certainly in the wintertime on slippery surfaces. Because when you're locked into a 50-50 power split, again, and you may have experienced this with other trucks that have more of a less, what's the word I'm looking for, less intelligent 4-wheel drive system. What will happen is when you're turning, the outer wheel takes a longer path than the inner wheel, just because it's a different diameter circle that you're sort of scribing, and what you'll get is some crabbing where the wheels are turning at the same speed, yet it's not intended for that. So you need that wheel spin in order to prevent any driveline damage. So you only use that button, I say, when it's slippery outside. Now, moving inside, let's start with things like mirrors. Of course, you got heated auto dimming mirrors. You've got power adjustability, keyless remote entry coming in. Now, beautiful interior, full leather, and you can see this is just spotless inside. Side airbags, curtain airbags extending over front and rear windows. We do have a big power sunroof with a shade. I've got the shade drawn there. I'll open that up in a moment. 10-way power adjustable seat, including a power lumbar support. 6-way sort of lower seat adjustment, so you can, for example, just tilt the front of the seat, the rear of the seat, or move the whole seat up, for those that really want extra lift and extra height. Of course, power reclining. And the leather, you can see, is clean as a whistle. Perforated, which is really important for leather. It just makes it less sticky. You know, it breathes better in the summertime. You've got fuel door release, hood releases here, brake release for the foot operated cable. You see the big heavy duty weather check mats for the front, and it also has those in the rear. You've got your fog lights on, VSA or vehicle stability assist, so it turns it off when this is activated, but effectively what it does is, I mean, it's your anti-skid control and all-speed traction control, so that's the kind of thing you typically want to leave on. There's very few situations where you don't want that. Courtesy lighting, nice big storage pockets within the doors. Premium audio in the touring model, so it's a 7-speaker with a rear subwoofer, upgraded amplifier, obviously higher power. All your power controls here for windows, mirrors. Again, you see your mirror heating switch, so it has a little separate switch there to activate that. Window lockout, so if you have kids sitting in the back or in the right front seat, activating that lockout will sort of cancel that power window, so only the driver can control them. You do have a full auto down, auto up on the driver's side. And a power back window. So the switch here operates the sliding of that center window section. So that's a neat feature, especially, well, sometimes you'll see you can get a cab on the back, but it just gives you access or flow through ventilation. And even in the summertime, if you don't want your AC on in those cooler days, just open the windows and open the sunroof and open that back window and just let the air flow through. Next best thing to a convertible. Tilt wheel adjuster, cargo lamp. So this actually illuminates lamps on either side of those sort of buttresses on either side there. Of course, up top there, I'll just point that out, but that's a third LED brake lamp. Now, moving along, let's get inside here. So we've got lots of little features here. I'll just take the strap off. Okay, there's your mileage, 193,835. Outside ambient temperature displayed there, so it has that function as well. Then there's a multi-function trip odometer, and that's controlled just by switches over to the right of the instrument cluster. So that's what I was talking about earlier, that VTM4 lock, where it's sort of that center differential lock, again locking it into a 50-50 power split between front and rear wheels. Otherwise it sort of does it automatically. This function here allows you to sort of reset and move the various functions here. So I am low on gas right now. I'll have to put some fuel in it. So, but as we go through, you'll see things like 2 trip odometers, A and B. It gives you your average fuel economy, your fuel range, distance to empty. I'm trying to get a better angle here. The light is shining in at an awkward angle here. There we go. That's a little better. So again, you got things like elapsed time, your instantaneous sort of fuel economy while driving, so you can sort of find that sweet spot where you're going to get the best fuel economy. And then we're back to the beginning. Again, we do have a nice big tachometer, speedometer, of course your transmission indicator telling you your transmission position, and engine temperature and fuel gauge. And that little red lamp is just my seatbelt warning light. So vents all across the dash, side window demisting, nice little storage sort of above the glove compartment where you do see you've got a nice big glove box with a lock on it. It's cavernous. You've got a trunk lock here that locks the underfloor cargo bed. I'll show you in a moment. You've got an auxiliary audio input. Now, being a 2013, I should point out, this has Bluetooth hands-free phone, which is bilingual too, with voice operation. So you can, once you've paired your phone and uploaded your contact list, you can just sort of read out, the individual you wish to call, and as it's registered in your contact list, it'll recognize it in both official languages. You see the little voice button back there. Now, but it does not have Bluetooth audio streaming from the factory. But simple workarounds. That little aux plug there, the little round plug-in, you can buy what they call a Bluetooth antenna. They're available at any audio store. You can get them online, obviously with eBay and Amazon, those places. And they're really inexpensive, $25 to $60 depending on the brand. You plug it in, and it allows you to wirelessly stream from your smartphone. So if you really want to access your, for example, your streaming services, whether you have downloaded music or you do audio streaming with, Amazon Music, Apple Music, all the various Spotify, etc. You can do all that just through that aux antenna input. So, and then you can see here on the actual screen, you've got your CD and aux plugs, AM, FM, Sirius XM. Now, when I open up the radio head, you'll see inside you do have an additional 6 CD changer. So again, you can load 6 CDs in. So if you have a CD collection that you're getting tougher and tougher, a lot of newer cars don't even come with CD players anymore. But you can load 6 discs in there, and that's a simple way to access that. Now your menu button up here, obviously you can see the GPS navigation that we're looking at, but you can go into all your map info, your various setup and information, calendars, etc. Audio selection, again, your AM, FM, satellite radio, etc. CD changer, auxiliary, and then of course it's all multifunctional, of course, with your navigation. So some of these buttons you'd use for navigation, for zooming in and out on your map screen, etc. Down below, again, we have a separate radio control, so you can function or select items by touch on here, or you can go through the the memory buttons here, etc. as well. So there's sort of dual ways to access a lot of this technology. And sound button here just allows you to go in and adjust your subwoofer, bass, treble, fade, balance, etc. So that's all the setup stuff is there. Then moving down below, this is where we get into our air conditioning. So we have door switch lighting. So this right now, normally you're going to leave this on door switch so that when you open your doors, your overhead lamps are automatically going to illuminate and then fade out. You've got dual zone climate control for driver and passenger, fresh air recirculation, your mode button that changes all the different airflow patterns. Obviously your fan controls here for fan speed. Air is nice and cold on this. Say Mike, the gentleman that owned this, he's maintained it very well. You'll see here in a moment all the service records he has. He's pretty much serviced it exclusively, except for I think one oil change at Welland Honda. And of course, dual power outlets, dual sort of high-low heated seats for driver and passenger. So storage cubby hole, nice big storage bin, more storage down below, cup holders, and they've got a really kind of ingenious center console. So let's open this up, and you'll see, of course, armrest storage cubby. Oops, there's a little fabric item here that just sort of keeps things from rattling. Now down below we have a power plug. This is a regular AC, so regular household current. So that's achieved through a built-in what they call power inverter. This is all factory, that converts from DC or direct current, a 12-volt system for the vehicle, to AC 115 volt or alternating current, up to 100 watts. So this gives you the ability to plug in your laptop, plug in anything with a regular household power plug, whether it's a computer or any other devices. If you're heading up to the, to a work site and you want to charge your batteries, you can plug in your portable battery charger and do that while you're driving. And this is kind of neat. This opens up and gives you almost like a little hidden storage area under that console. You can see quite large. It goes all the way back in there as well, with sort of a divider shelf that you can move to different positions. So lots and lots of space, really ingeniously laid out. In the back, of course, you've got rear heat and air conditioning vents, more power plugs. We'll look at that in a moment. We've got an auto dimming rear view mirror, individual sort of spot lamps for driver passenger, microphone that's embedded in there, and that's what's picking up our voice for all your phone call or other voice operations with the navigation system. 3 buttons here are what they call home link or universal garage door openers. So you can program those to your electronic garage door openers, or even lights, entry gates, those sort of things for automatic operation. This opens up here and you've got a nice little sort of glasses storage for your driving glasses. Both visors have illuminated visor mirrors. Slide back the sunroof cover, or moonroof as Honda call it. And then you've got a power tilt and power tilt and sort of fully opening power roof up top. All very nicely equipped. I've mentioned the aux plug, the extra storage on top of the glove box. Now let's have a look at some of the documentation here. So number one is this is our wheel lock key for removing the keys. Second, vehicle key. So you've got two keys. You see it's a regular ignition system. Of course, all the newer cars are now push button stop start and all the rest of it. This is a little older tech, which frankly I kind of like, you know, all these things, and I see a lot of cars, and you know, it's great when they're new and under warranty, but a lot of this technology, when it starts to go south, can be very expensive to maintain. So sometimes less is best. Clean Carfax. There's just a glass record there showing, you see $129. That would have been like a little window chip. But you see all the service. It looks like it came originally from Welland Honda, and then Welland Honda's done virtually all the servicing thereafter. We see one servicing at Niagara Battery, another at a lube shop in Font Hill. But again, all local here in Niagara. Niagara trucks since new. All the documentation, service records. Mike is very fastidious at keeping all this, and I went through all of them. He has done the big service. If you know these engines, there's what they call a required timing belt and water pump change. That was all done about a year and a half ago, so still, again, you're many years away, because they recommend doing that every 10 years or so, or depending on kilometers. I think it's every 160,000 kilometers, so we're all up to date on that. Now let's move around. Open up the hood, open up the gas cap door, peek in the back seat. So nice big roomy rear seat. Again, sort of drink holders up top, speakers, of course door handles. You've got child-proof door locks as well that sort of cancel those locks. And again, you'll see those rust-proofing plugs going into these sort of closed or boxed areas. Seat back pockets on both sides, and another 12-volt power plug. There's three of them throughout the vehicle. Of course, illumination lamp, rear heat and air conditioning with sort of a flow control knob on there. Seats themselves sit 3 across, so 5 passenger total. And then you've got cup holders and storage within the armrest. You've got all the anchor points for child seats, what they call latch or ISOFIX anchor points, so you can fix those in any of the 3 positions. Folding up the seats is real simple. Just pull the handle and that lifts up. Boom. Same on the other side. It's a 60-40 split. Gives you a nice flat load floor. And you can see the WeatherTech mats protecting everything throughout the back. You can keep lots of gear in there. Oop, apologies there, my battery ran out, so I popped a new one in. So just again, regular gas, easy to access, locked so nobody can get at it. I just took the opportunity to roll back the tonneau cover so you can get an idea of your cargo space. And one thing that Honda was one of the first to come out with these, what they call a steel reinforced composite bed. So composite meaning like a high impact plastics, all recycled material, so it's all good for the environment, but it's all interlaced with steel. So you can drop thousands of pounds in here, it won't crack, it won't break, and the best part is it'll never rust out. Toyota kind of copied this sort of setup with their Tacomas as well. You'll see nice big sort of tie-down hooks in all 4 corners, so you can tie down loads or items or motorbikes or ATVs or whatever you have loaded in the back. And then they've got a real ingenious tailgate system. Of course, you've got a standard tailgate that can sort of flip down and open up. Of course, that's your backup camera there. But where you see this little release lever, there's a handle that opens up there. Then the tailgate has what they call a dual action. You see how that swings out and gives you access from the side. And then there's a lockable underfloor storage bin. So, spare tires in here, sort of a compact space saver, but these little tie downs unscrew and then it slides out on a tray, so for easy access along with all your jack and tools. Nice sort of, again, locked storage bin. I've seen people tailgating over Bills games and whatnot where they load this up with ice and full of their beverages and whatnot, so it's kind of a neat way to tailgate. This is the Honda platform and hitch along with a locking mechanism and keys, as you can see here, for the trailer hitch. So that's a handy thing to have. No need to buy that. And you can see the extra floor mats there, the original carpeted mats. It even has like a, you can see a drain plug. Oh, there it is there. So again, if you're filling that up with ice for cooler sort of setup, again, you can easily drain any water out with that. Smart design, love it. Of course, these are our park assist sensors wrapping around the vehicle. Nice big heavy duty sort of splash guards. Tires equally matched all the way around. Nice deep Michelins. So let's finish up under hood here. On the hood release. Oh, there we go. Got it. So we got a 3.5 liter V6. This is VTEC, just means variable valve timing with electronic lift control. So it's again 24 valve. It's a single overhead cam design, so a little different. Some companies are using double overhead cams, so these are single overhead cam in each tank. But the same net effect with 4 valves per cylinder, variable valve timing, multi-port fuel injection. Again, good, reliable, old-school technology. As mentioned, the one thing you had to do with these is change that timing belt roughly every 10 years. You know, 160K, that's been done. So you're good really up till 300 plus K before that's due. Everything else real simple to get to. Oil dipsticks, oil, first you see a red on the battery. Inside that little box there, of course, is the air filter. Brake fluid, power steering fluid, engine coolant, and washer fluid over on the side. So real easy to maintain with a do-it-yourselfer. And that wraps it up, folks. Steve, we're CarSmart in Niagara Falls. 2013 Ridgeline Touring. Beautiful shape at CarSmart.